Hello, everyone. Today's talk is going to be quite messy and all over the place because I'm here to try to talk through my own feelings and to figure it out as I go. It's something that I'm currently going through, sorting through. I've thought about it for a long time. These past couple of weeks have been kind of nutty and emotionally tolling, I guess. Because I've had time to sit with it, I think it's finally time to actually sit down and sort through the emotions and talk myself through it and look at how I feel, why I feel it, and go from there. So today we'll be talking about navigating conflict as a people pleaser. So I have been a chronic people pleaser since I was a kid. And I think it is because of the way that I was raised, because of how my parents expected me to act growing up. I think that being a people pleaser, it's not necessarily the worst quality that you can have, but I think it's a quality that lacks self respect. And that's a given because, given the term people pleaser, you would expect somebody to lack respect in order to not be able to assert their own boundaries to other people and tell them how they feel. It's something that I've been trying to build myself through and break through these past couple of years. I've been trying to get better at asserting how I feel towards other people, how I feel in conflicts, because something inside of me, whenever there is a conflict happening, is always like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Just do whatever they want you to do. Just do whatever they want you to feel. They're right about everything that they're saying about you, and so on. But throughout time and as I've healed, obviously, I know that is not always the case. Because if I'm feeling some sort of way, there's an emotion in me that is going unseen, unheard. Learning how to actually talk to people properly and look to resolve conflicts instead of just listening to the other person talk just to reply or talk back. Listening to actually listen makes a difference, and letting the other person know that they are being heard and seen makes a difference. Because if you think about it, we are all just looking for resonance. We are social creatures. We are always just looking for someone, for something to see us or hear the way that we feel. We try to look for ourselves in everything that we do, everything that we say, every person that we meet. And I think whenever there is a conflict going on, sometimes they don't resolve because of the fact that the two parties aren't seeing each other or hearing each other. They're sitting there arguing their own points without regard to the other person's point. I also feel like there is never a full correct answer to conflicts because people have varying emotions. You can't just tell someone how they should feel about something or what they should be doing or that they shouldn't have felt like that or they should feel like this. You can't tell a person what emotions should arise in them. Those things just happen naturally. Whenever a person expresses anger or sadness or upset, it is usually because there's a real deep emotion inside of them that is ruling over them right now. Yes, those emotions can be expressed wrong sometimes. Like a lot of things can blow up from those emotions. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that the person that you are in conflict with is having a real deep emotion. They're not wrong for having that emotion. They can feel however they want. It is their life, it is their emotion. There are always so many little details that you might not even know are affecting the situation, that are affecting the way that this person feels. There are so many ways that this person can be affected by their outside environment, by things that aren't even involved in the issue that leads them to blow up. And yes, that is on them to be able to separate what's going on in their own personal lives from this certain issue. You also have to actively be treating the people in your life with grace because a lot of the time you can't control that. Sometimes people can be going through literally everything all at once and you would never know that because sometimes people just aren't expressive with how they're what they're going through or what they're feeling. And I think when you remember that there is always another side of the coin, that people are always just looking to be heard or seen, that you are also looking to be heard or seen, it makes it a lot easier to navigate through these conflicts because it helps you realize that you're allowed to express yourself. You're allowed to tell this other person how you feel without them getting upset at you or angry at you. And I think that's one of the main issues with why I've always been a people pleaser, because I've always just been so afraid to express myself or tell somebody how I feel or tell somebody how they made me feel. In conflicts, usually, at least whenever I try to resolve conflicts, sometimes I just sit down and lay down like a dog and just let people walk all over me. I tell them that I understand and that I'm in the wrong. And I realize that that's not very productive because though I'm telling them that I understand them, there's still a lot of unresolved emotion on my part. Like I said, as a people pleaser, that leads to a lot of unresolved emotion and a lot of buildup. That comes from the fact that conflicts usually don't feel resolved fully when one or both sides still don't feel understood or heard. It just leads to this weird standoffish air that lingers far after the conflict could have been resolved if both sides just stood there and heard each other out and understood each other. We spend way too much time pointing fingers at each other and assuming things about the other's motives instead of actually trying to understand where the other person is coming from or understand what it's like to be in their shoes and understand where their emotions are coming from. And we linger too hard on the reasons that we apply to each other's actions instead of just talking to the other person and hearing them and hearing why they did what they did. This is completely different if you're dealing with like an actual manipulative person that has no regard to your feelings, only how they feel. When you have a healthy relationship with someone and you actually want to work through with them and get to a point where you can talk to them openly and address issues right off the bat instead of just walking on eggshells or dawdling around the issues all the time. I feel like a lot of my relationships now, if there's an issue, I can just talk to them about it and we can sit there and say, okay, this is why this made me feel this way. Your actions made me feel this way because of this. I think that we spend way too much time trying to save face with each other when over time, if you have a real relationship with somebody, you don't need to save face. You need to be open to the conflict. You need to be open to resolving it. You need to be open to hearing their side and why they did what they did. But most of the time, there's never any malintent, especially if it's somebody that you love, especially if it's someone close to you. There are fucked up people. This doesn't apply to every single person, obviously, every single conflict, but a lot of the time the people that you do want to keep close to you, there is no malintent. We just assume that there is because we feel hurt. We and a lot of my self-talk lately has looked like, "Oh my god, I'm such a horrible person. The fact that I'm having so much conflict lately means that I'm probably the problem." And I think I'm only feeling the way that I feel right now where I have to like navigate all the conflict by myself is because I've had maybe 3 or 4 situations in the past 2 weeks where I had to be straight up and honest about the way that I felt and apologize and explain myself and bear myself fully to these people. And I think because it's happened over and over again these past few weeks, I think I'm beginning to feel like I'm in the wrong, like I am the issue, or that there's something about me that people just don't get along with. But really, all the negative self talk just comes from me being a people pleaser. Because when I look at it from an outsider standpoint, I really don't think that there was anything else I could do to make myself come across any more understanding and open towards the other person's point. I feel like a lot of people take explanations or expressions of emotion as a defense to why someone acts the way that they do, but a lot of the time the other person is just trying to tell you why they did what they did or why they feel the way that they do. And I think it's a duty on both sides, both parties, to listen to the other person when they talk and listen to the other person's reasons and listen to the other person's point of view because there is always a conversation to be had. When one side closes off, the conflict will never be resolved. And it's a really hypocritical slope us humans go down because a lot of us don't realize it. But like I said, we are always just looking for ourselves and other people. We are always looking to be heard and seen and felt. But at the same time, we are very selfish. Whenever we want to be seen or heard or felt, we are also not making the effort to see or feel other people. And I think that is the root of most conflicts. People are very self important in their conflicts. And I'm saying this because I too am self important whenever I get into conflicts with other people. And I can see this within my my closest relationships, like my romantic relationship. When I feel any type of way towards my parents or towards my boyfriend, I'm always like, oh, they just hate me. Like, I didn't even do anything wrong, blah, 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 blah. But instead of looking at it from their point of view, I'm just sitting there like a kicked dog and I'm victimizing myself when most of the time maybe I did something that made them feel some type of sort of way to make them act out towards me. And a lot of the time we are just bouncing off of each other. Our emotions bounce off of each other. We are so much more affected by each other's emotions than anybody realizes. I know people like to act like they don't give a fuck, but we all give fucks. And it is not cool at this point in time to try to act like you don't give a fuck. It is cool to care about each other. It's cool to actually reach out to other people and feel how they feel and look at other people's emotions and resonate with them. And trying to find humanity in this world is the coolest thing that you can do right now. That is the only way that we can keep each other sane. And this is like the base topic of all of my videos, but it is something that I will always come back to because it's something that I truly believe. The whole idea behind me being a people pleaser is to avoid as much conflict as possible. But the fact that I have been in so much conflict these past few weeks is honestly something I'm not mad at. It hurts in the moment and it makes me feel like a terrible person, but I'm also proud of myself for learning how to stand my ground and learning how to assert boundaries and learning how to confront people without feeling guilty about it. And I think that the best thing that I can do for myself right now is just letting myself sit in the emotions. When conflicts go unresolved, yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucks. Yes, you can think all these things about yourself. You can think all these things about the other person. But at the end of the day, you feel how you feel. The other party feels how they feel. You guys can come to an understanding on both ends, but if you can't, then there's nothing more you can do. Either you make a stronger effort to understand them or they can make a stronger effort to understand you, but you also can't make anybody do anything. You can't make somebody understand you. They have to do that on their own. That is something that we have to grow up and live with. So, to end this video, I guess I just want to say that the next time that you are going through something with a close friend or even an acquaintance or your parents or your family member, just anybody in your life, the next time that you're going through a conflict with them, try to see if you are hearing them out. Try to look to see if you are looking at their perspective, that you are seeing where they're standing, that you are seeing where they are in their lives. Don't only try to understand the other person, but also ensure that they are trying to understand you and they're not just sitting there trying to defend themselves or defend their emotions or defend the way that they acted towards you. Because it goes both ways. Not only do you need to be looking at the way that you act towards others, but you also need to be looking at the way that people act towards you. Don't just sit there and let your emotions be trampled on. Learn to care properly for other people and learn to find people and stay around people that care properly for you. That's all. Bye.